I'd like to invite you to think about your favorite food. Now, this can be a single item, or it can be a whole meal. Try to remember the last time you had it. Now, I don't want you to think about the environment or the people you were with, but the food that you were experiencing. Now, take that bite. What are you tasting? Are you getting something sweet? Maybe salty? Maybe there's a savory meatiness to it. Perhaps there's even a little hint of bitter. Nothing offensive, maybe a spice or an herb. Maybe it has a citrus garnish, and you squeeze it on your food, and you've got this pop of sour. Are your salivary glands going? Our taste buds are there for your pleasure, but they also have purpose. You see, I believe that even healthy food should be out of this world delicious. And yet, we find ourselves in a place where our sense of taste has kind of lost its reverence. If you think about it, those taste buds are the only thing that you were born with to be able to detect nutrition. So, your sense of taste matters so much more than we're giving it reverence for. Now, I just walked you through a flavorful experience, and in that experience, you got to think about the 5 flavors we get to experience on our taste buds: salty, sweet, sour, bitter, and umami. Now, you're gonna laugh when I tell you what my favorite food is. It's meatloaf. My mom makes the best meatloaf in the world. And growing up in New Jersey, my dad and I were the gardeners. And to this day, I still garden. And I'm so lucky because I have really been able to embrace the food industry in a lot of different ways. So I've worked in restaurants, and I've done food manufacturing. And this fascination with food and flavor ultimately took me to a culinary school. And it wasn't just a cooking school. This school was focused on local and organic food. And we, as students, got to get our hands in the dirt and link arms with farmers that really care about their land and their soil and the food that they're growing, and raising for that matter. And it was here in culinary school that I learned about the 5 flavors: salty, sweet, sour, bitter, and umami. I'm gonna keep saying it. So I not only learned how to make food taste good, but I also learned that these flavors have benefits and they have purpose. We live in a world today where our taste buds are not really given enough reverence. Our children are growing up thinking that blue is a flavor. And we have been conditioned to think that only sweet and salty things taste good. But then we get in our heads and we say, well, sweet is calories, and salt is concerning for your heart. So all of a sudden, we don't trust our sense of taste anymore. But the thing is that there's an important correlation here between flavor and nutrients. And in nature, flavor and nutrients create the perfect package. And the sad thing about not giving reverence to our sense of taste is that not only are we doing ourselves a disservice, we're also allowing kind of confusing combinations of flavor. So for instance, chocolate-flavored protein. Do you know that protein has its own flavor? It's called umami, and it is delicious. It is that meaty, savory, unctuous flavor that we get. Yes, when we eat meat, but also when we eat seeds or nuts, and even kale, that higher protein green, has an umami flavor. So these flavors have purpose. And when we embrace these flavors in this way, we can learn to trust them more. So for instance, in nature, let's think about an apple. If you think of an apple, you're going to think of it as sweet. But is it just sweet? When you take that bite, you're getting sweet. You're getting sour. You might even be getting a little saltiness, but it's wrapped in a bitter package. And that bitter package that protects the apple from pests and disease with its antioxidants and polyphenols is going to provide the same benefit for you. So in nature, sweet doesn't come alone. Sweet is always packaged with other flavors. So it's really powerful if you think about it. You can make choices around flavor without the guilt when it comes from nature. So I'm really lucky in that in my pursuit of understanding our taste buds better, I get to interview really amazing experts. I get to talk to chefs and nutritionists and farmers, regenerative farmers, agronomists. And the exciting thing is that they're doing the right things with flavor. They are growing flavor into food instead of manufacturing it and adding it later. In one USDA report that was shared with me by Rod Tyler of Garden Socks, did a comparison report of nutrients of strawberries grown conventionally versus strawberries grown in garden socks which are filled with just compost, biology-rich compost. And they were measuring nutrient density, but the reality is it translates to flavor really easily. So for instance, it showed higher levels of sucrose, glucose, and fructose. You can probably guess that that's going to bring you sweetness, but it's also energy, right? It also showed higher levels of malic acid and citric acid, and these show up as sour on our taste buds. And here's the thing that you're going to love, is the antioxidants were higher, and antioxidants are bitter. I know you don't really love that. Usually when we think of bitter, it's offensive, and it's not something that we feel like we enjoy, but don't be bitter about bitter. Because bitter is where the magic is. All the medicinal healing properties of food show up in bitter flavors. So antioxidants, terpenes, polyphenols, these are all things that we can embrace as a bitter flavor. And the best part of it is we can kind of bring Mary Poppins into the picture here, and if you think about it, a little bit of sweetness can help the medicine go down. In a world where we're on the precipice of environmental collapse, think about how empowering it is to use your own taste buds as an ally for these regenerative farmers. And imagine, this is cool technology that's showing up. There's devices that you will be able to take into the grocery store, measured nutrient density of, let's say, a leaf of spinach in the grocery store. Take that device to the farmer's market, do a little comparison, look at the nutrient density, take them home and taste them. All of a sudden, your taste buds are not so superficial after all. So here we are, often confused about how we can make changes in the environment. Doesn't it feel completely empowering that your taste buds and you demanding more flavor be grown and raised into your food can make a difference? Flavor is a remedy. Flavor is a remedy for boring food. Flavor is a remedy for your health. Flavor is a remedy for the planet. What is it that you want to eat and taste in your food?